The motorcycle that tested the company's new technologies later became widely used in many models. Based on it, one of the most iconic sport motorcycles of modern times was built. It perfectly reflected the brand's philosophy. YZF 1000R Thunder Ace is one of the brand's iconic motorcycles. The arrival of a new motorcycle model is always surrounded by an exciting aura. At the opening ceremony, you can often see brightly smiling members of the development team proudly presenting the new model. The bike is photographed from all sides, and famous journalists sit on it for the first time, which gives additional impetus to the team's important event. And although this is rarely mentioned at these formal events, it's the technologies that make the main contribution to the shape and final characteristics of new models, lying at the heart of production. This work usually happens behind the scenes, but it forms a substantial foundation and is irreplaceable. The core of Yamaha Monozukuri, a unique approach to the development, production, and marketing of products that emphasizes craftsmanship and perfection. Since its founding in 1955, Yamaha Motor has prioritized manufacturing technologies and continues to develop and refine this expertise. A great example of this philosophy is the YZF 1000 Thunder Ace model. And while it may not have set all sorts of speed records or topped the sales charts at the time of its release, the technologies built into it made all subsequent models from the brand some of the best in their class. For its time, the bike was really good. It had a pretty powerful engine, a chassis that could handle it, and excellent brakes. In other words, it was pretty much the benchmark sport bike of its time. This is confirmed by the fact that it was based on the YZF 1000R Thunder AC that the first generation of the iconic R1 model appeared in 1998. The 4-stroke, 4-cylinder inline engine with liquid cooling and 5 valves per cylinder was developed based on the FZR 1000 engine and produced a pretty impressive 145 horsepower for that time. And this is the power of the first generation ZX11, which, although not significantly, has a smaller displacement. In addition to the lightweight crankshaft, the new engine received forged pistons, a first for production motorcycles. Later, the forging will go into production on all sports models of the brand, such as the R6, R7, and R1. And while today forged pistons in an engine don't seem like anything out of the ordinary, back in the mid-90s, it was a huge leap for the motorcycle world. In addition to their sleeker design and lighter weight, these pistons were also stronger and more durable. This allowed for the creation of an engine with higher RPMs that was more reliable and also had better fuel efficiency. In a word, they brought nothing but benefits. The peak power could have been higher, but the Genesis engine, which is what the entire line of flexible, multi-valve, innovative, high-performance Yamaha engines was called. In the 80s and 90s, the Thunder AC had a nice mid-range feel, so the engine starts pulling from 2000 RPM. There's explosive power that only ends in the red zone of the tachometer. The throttle position sensors and the patented EXUP valve on the exhaust improved throttle response, and the engine revved up pretty quickly for its time. Yamaha was the first to develop a system for changing the internal cross-section of the exhaust system, thereby achieving maximum power throughout the entire range. Their EXUP is located between the 4 exhaust pipes and the muffler. The power valve is closed in the low to medium speed range, thereby reducing the pipe cross-section, and open at higher ones, increasing it. Its opening and closing at given engine speeds is controlled electronically by means of a servo motor and cables. And if you twist every gear into the red zone, you may find that you are almost on track for a new speed record. This was further reinforced by Yamaha's official statements about the bike's serious aerodynamics. Vitali revolutionary engine, 4.38mm, Mikuni carburetor. The 5-speed gearbox, combined with the chain drive, does a great job of ensuring that the bike accelerates well. Thanks to this transmission, this sport bike can quickly change its riding style if the rider desires. The rear swing arm, along with the monoshock, has all the adjustments, and its travel is 120mm. The front fork gear is also adjustable as desired, and its travel is exactly the same. The rear brake features a 245mm disc and a 2-piston caliper. At the front there is a pair of 298mm discs, complete with 4-piston calipers. All this still looks quite decent today, despite the fact that the fork is not upside down and the brakes are not radial. The aluminum Delta box frame is inherited from the YZF-1000R. Considering the average fuel consumption of 6 liters per 100 kilometers, the local tank capacity of 20 liters is quite acceptable. The curb weight of the YZF-1000 Thunder ACE is 224 kilograms, while the dry weight is 198 kilograms. The dimensions of this bike are average. The wheelbase is 1,430 millimeters. The seat height is 815 millimeters. The model has an interesting interior that seems to be frozen at the turn of the millennium and the eras in the motorcycle industry. This is not a super modern sports bike, nor is it an old boxy classic sports bike. The YZF-1000 Thunder ACE looks unique, but at the same time fully complies with the class framework and overall design. While the Tundra doesn't have the sharp handling of, say, a 750 Gixxer, it has more than enough bite and is more stable at speed. After all, the motorcycle can reach a top speed of 275 kilometers per hour, but it's pretty good considering the slightly smaller engine displacement. Yamaha didn't have any kind of inertia boost either. Combining the grace and power of the FZR-1000 engine with the class-leading, lightweight, and agile chassis made the Thunder ACE a versatile motorcycle, feeling right at home on both country roads and in urban settings. And almost 20 years later, even after the production of this model ceased, it is still highly valued on the secondary market. But the main thing is that the YZF-1000 or Thunder ACE was a true testing ground for the company's engineering ideas. These ideas later found their way into a number of Yamaha sport models.